Hi, and welcome back. And I'm joined on the sofa now by Natalie and Max from DXC, one of our leading partners. We've just seen their VT on screen. And Matt from Microsoft, welcome one and all. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Matt, if I can turn to you first. So why is it that Microsoft is investing so heavily in leading in virtual reality?
So we really see mixed reality as being the third wave of computing. So we started in desktop computing, and then people wanted to take that computing power, that intelligence, that productivity with them, on their phones. But it was kind of constrained to these 2D screens. And so now with mixed reality, what we can do is we can really overlay, all of this information that today is everywhere. It's all around us, and by blending the digital and the physical worlds, we can kind of infuse it in the environment around first-line workers. So I'm talking now about people who, they're working in front of customers, they're working in front of products and equipment every day. And so that really ties in with our mission, which is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more.
Great. And how are you seeing customers getting tangible business impact from this kind of technology already?
Yeah, so it's a little bit more than 2 years ago now that we launched HoloLens.
Right.
And so at the time, that was really the world's first fully self-contained holographic computer.
Yeah.
And so since then, we've seen just a huge amount of commercial applications with mixed reality, but you can really group them into key areas where people have had benefits. So we've got things like remote assistance, we've got collaborative visualization, we've got spatial planning and analytics, and we've got kind of training and task guidance. And so we've seen that demand, and Microsoft's responded by building a series of kind of out-of-the-box, first-party solutions, and we deliver those under the Dynamics 365 brand, which is where I work.
Okay.
So to give you some examples, Chevron, they're an energy company, and they're using Dynamics 365 Remote Assist to really connect their technicians in the field with experts who might be half the way around the world, and so they're then helping them to kind of troubleshoot in real time to see if they can keep their operations working effectively and kind of issue-free. Another interesting example, we've got Kenworth.
Yeah.
So Kenworth are manufacturers of kind of highly personalized custom trucks for professional drivers. And so you can imagine there, you're onboarding new employees, the way they assemble these things is continuously changing, and so they're helping people really ramp up much, much faster than ever, and they're making their manufacturing processes more efficient. And so there's loads of examples as well in sales scenarios and things like that. But what they've all got in common is this notion of how can we bring this digital information and insight and overlay it in the context, this physical context of the work that these people are doing.
Okay. And so when you're talking there about helping maybe guide people through that experience, can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, okay, so Dynamics 365 Guides is actually generally available today.
Okay.
And it solves a huge problem. And so I want to put that in the context of manufacturing, okay? So when you think about the problem that we face across countries now today, we've got a huge shortage of skills to staff, the kind of the jobs that are available. Okay, so the US market, as one example, about 25% of skilled workers are actually retiring in just the next 2 years. And so forecasting a decade out, there's about 3.5 million new jobs that are going to be created, but people think that we'll only be able to actually staff half of those due to this kind of gap in skills and talent.
Yeah.
And so, the opportunity we have with Guides, with Dynamics 365 Guides, is not just to give a new employee the tools to do the job on the first day, but to then equip them with the experience and the skill immediately through this solution. And so, just imagine a scenario there where, this kind of guided set of instructions is following them through as they're completing the task. And of course, you're then creating information that helps close the loop on how this training gets improved over time. So it's really something else.
Amazing. And so I understand, if I just turn to you now, Max, so you're working, DXC are working already with customers that are using guides. What are you seeing?
So we're working across a number of verticals. So take manufacturing, for instance.
Yeah.
We're seeing lots of customers wanting to take that advantage of training to be able to empower staff straight away to learn new skills by actually doing, but then using that in following on to field workers. So passing the knowledge straight away when they're out in the field. So it's enabling businesses to retain a lot of information, so when they go for various product changes as they go through the life cycle, they can retain that and make the engineers aware, so when they attend a particular machine or thing they're looking at, they can get the right information up about that and follow the right guide to be able to carry out their job and maybe fix a machine.
Yeah, I can really see how that would speed up that learning process, and it would enable, as you were saying, for experts that don't actually have to be in the same room as the piece of equipment, for example, or the person who's learning. So really close that loop. So what would you advise customers then if they're thinking about getting on this journey with guides? What should they be considering?
Yeah, first of all, it is important to look at the current work environment within an organization and see how clients have documented their current work instructions. So they could be using paper manuals or PDF instructions, which could be a lot of text with pictures in it. But when clients are moving to HoloLens and guides, they have to convert those work instructions to mixed reality, which is basically a combination of instruction cards, which is very short text, combined with pictures and images, video, and even 3D assets. So it's kind of an UX exercise that we need to do, and that's where DXC can help. We have a lot of UX design teams that can help with that exercise. But also the 3D modeling is an important aspect. So we have a lot of 3D design teams in DXC, and we can help clients with that, with those type of activities.
Okay, and so there must be so many opportunities for customers. How can customers start to think about the opportunities that they have and then how they prioritize those opportunities? What would you advise there?
Absolutely. Well, we work with customers to identify them. And it is about finding what's got the best impact, but not going to affect too much as we do that. So training might be the way to start and look at how can we skill up the employees before moving on to the field workers. But it's starting small and then moving big. So starting with a prototype, minimal viable product, 1 or 2 processes, and then moving in as they realize the benefit of guides.
Okay, and what would you say to customers that are on this journey? So maybe they've tried a few projects. How do they think about the progression maybe?
Absolutely, well, there's a lot of aspect to it. So the guides is just one thing. The HoloLens, fantastic piece of hardware.
It's an exciting piece of kit, right? They must just want to do everything with it straight away.
Absolutely, but you've got to take this in steps. So you've got to think about device management as well.
Yes.
How you're going to secure these devices.
Yes.
How you're going to update them. But it's also making sure that the right information's available. Yeah. So connecting it to the cloud, showing those guides so that when they get the right anchor to the right piece of kit, they get that information. So that's why we work with customers to be able to do that, to be able to take them on that journey from something that brings business benefit straight away, and then into working with the rest of the processes to get those online.
And what are some of the newer applications that you've seen of guides? What have you seen more recently?
Yeah, well, I think that's an interesting question. So we were talking earlier about specifically assembly being a scenario where people get a huge amount of benefit from having this kind of step-by-step guided, kind of heads-up, hands-on instruction. And I think the biggest change that we're seeing at the moment is how frequently assembly lines are actually changing the process that they need to run. So in some cases, with some customers, it's as frequently as every 5 minutes.
Wow.
So if you imagine that you're then able to help people by giving them what they need when you're trying to handle that kind of change in process, I think that's really where you start to see some magic coming through. And obviously then the analytics that you get around the use of guides and being able to look at things like who's actually done the training. Okay, so now is this person able to be staffed to go and fix that job on that customer site or this particular asset in that location? Have they got the right safety training completed and things like that? So it's got a whole range of applications when you connect it into the existing business processes. But as Max said, start small, maybe with training, maybe in one business unit, and then you can move that through other business units, or you can move into other applications, where you started.
Yeah. So start small, think about the business impact, don't try and do everything all at once, and then iterate on from that.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, it's been absolutely fascinating talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of Future Decoded.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.